What is going on? We are here in the ideation room at Learfield IMG College headquarters in Plano, Texas. Pat Stanczyk, Jack Schrail, still eligible. Podcast number 1.
First episode. This is the other part of the show. We've already started the travel component.
Yes.
It's been going pretty well. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Going to talk about how this all started, who we are.
Yes.
What we've been doing, moving to Dallas.
Whole 9 yards.
A lot of stuff's been happening with us. So should we?
Bear with us. We've never done this before.
Yeah, we're figuring it out. We got our producer, Sandra, in
Shout
the
out
room.
Sandra.
Does everything for us. So hopefully we figure this out. I feel like we should introduce ourselves.
I feel like you should go first. You're more interesting.
Yeah, so I'm a University of Michigan grad.
Unfortunate.
From Ann Arbor. I knew you'd say that. And before this, I did some YouTube stuff, did some comedy writing.
It's worth checking out.
Yeah, sure, why not?
It's good stuff.
And then I met you through the Social Plus program.
Yep, this is true.
Through Learfield IMG College. And now we're here.
Look at us. We made it.
Yeah. Finally made it.
Yeah. No, for sure. Look at us.
That's me. So
all right, now it's my turn.
Yeah.
I'm Jack Schrail. I'm just a kid from Akron. Went to Miami University in Ohio. Did some social media stuff there for the athletic office throughout my time in college. Ran the Snapchat, Instagram stories, kind of a big deal. Traveled around with the football team. We're known for football. We are known for sports. We are known for it all at Miami University.
I think you're talking about the other Miami, but I digress.
That's all right. Miami University in Ohio was a school before Florida was a state. So,
fun fact. Not that fun, but a fact nonetheless.
So then I took the Social Plus job at Ohio State, same job as you, and ran the show there for two and a half years, give or take. And here we are now. That is a quick little recap.
You did run the show.
I mean, someone had to do it.
Yeah.
Someone had to do it.
And
I really didn't have any other options.
And I think early on, I remember a phone call with you. I think I brought this up before, and you said you don't remember it, which kind of offends me. But I remember the first time we talked on the phone.
I saw that Ann Arbor area code.
Yeah, you should have blocked it.
I know.
We wouldn't be here now if you did. But yeah, I remember from the first conversation, I was just like, this
guy gets it.
This guy has an unfortunate fandom, but seems like a cool guy.
I wish I could say the same.
Yeah, kind of clicked early on, and then we just had a bunch of phone calls, just to keep in touch. And then, yeah, I feel like
some venting sessions, if you will.
A few.
Yeah.
A few.
Don't need to get into that.
No.
Not episode 1.
No. Maybe episode 2.
Yeah.
Maybe down the road. But feel like we're very different, but also similar. And should probably say I'm 32.
Yep. I'm cute.
You're 26. You're the cute one.
Yep.
And yeah, I just kind of we'll get into like the nitty gritty here of how it happened. But I remember some conversations with you where we always talked about doing something like this. So it's pretty cool to be sitting here and actually doing it. So
no, it's been we'll get into that like you said. I mean, we can get into it right now.
Yeah,
it's been a work in progress. I mean, like you said, we talked about this for a long time. I don't know. I think a lot of people that did or do what we used to do, whether it's Social Plus or being a sports creative, I don't know, they're like super passionate about video or graphics or photo, and I think that we each have interest in some of those things, but also we saw an opportunity to do something like this, right? And why I love doing photos and editing videos, and you don't want to see my graphics at all.
Kind of do after saying that.
Yeah. It's bad. I use templates. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. We saw an opportunity here, and I think this is more up our alley, or I hope so, because they're paying us to do this.
I really hope so, because it is our job now.
Yeah.
But I feel similar. I definitely feel more comfortable with video than graphics, but it always kind of felt like something where I would do video for the sake of storytelling or writing something and then filming it before this job. And
Pat is an excellent writer.
I'm okay. I dabble. I basically am the only one, I think.
He loves using capital letters on Instagram.
Yep.
I get yelled at all the time for that.
I like punctuation.
He likes punctuation.
Although I did
I
did mess up dad recently. I
Yeah.
thought dad was capitalized, which
He spelled it wrong too, which
it's
is
always
hard to spell.
It's always
wrong.
fun to learn grammatical errors like after you posted it online.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to learn that you're making a
Yeah.
mistake. That's probably my favorite thing. But yeah, more of a video guy. You're more of a photo guy.
Yep.
But I feel like just even in working in sports, there's a lot of people who are super passionate about it and make tutorials, which we just spent so much time this summer watching. And
We were
learning and
grinding on
improving, yeah.
tutorials.
And yeah, I don't know. I have more of an interest in comedy, which I would hope you do, because if
No.
not, I don't know why I did this.
No.
And
Not a fan.
it's more for the sake of telling the story. So yeah, I mean, I think we're kind of odd in that aspect of a lot of people working in sports are,
Not funny.
well, that, and also they're super technical
No, yes, you're right.
and good,
some people are
and
funny.
they know what aperture is, which I kind of do at this point, but
Yeah, I
also
mean, I can spell it.
yeah, it's impressive. But yeah, no, I think we just talking about, how this originated
Yeah,
makes
I
sense.
think we went on
So
a little detour there.
so kind of going right into that from what we just talked about, it's like the career options for doing this,
Mhm.
I feel like are pretty limited. If you have our skill set, which
Skill set is a loose term.
yes,
we
so
have
we
skills.
we have
a set,
skill. I have skill.
Yes.
Singular skill.
which is also questionable.
Yes.
Carry on.
But just I think people need to understand in terms of how this happened. It's like without the pandemic, this probably wouldn't have happened,
Completely agree.
which is kind of crazy to say. And
Yeah.
obviously lots of people lost jobs and have had a rough year. And it's been an interesting year to pitch something and create something,
No
to
doubt.
create a new opportunity, which I'm super proud of, and super proud of you and
I'm proud
everybody
of you too.
involved. Thank you.
I've never said that before. We got it on tape.
It took a long time.
I did.
But just making it
going
happen,
off that
yeah.
though, we when I was driving out to LA in May 2nd. My buddy Alex Farkas, give him a shout out.
That's a national holiday now. That's why
It is a national holiday.
Still eligible day.
Yeah. There you go. Is that a wrap? Are we done?
Yes, we're done.
My buddy Alex Farkas got a job with LA Chargers. Shout out Farkas. That's a different story. We'll talk
I
to him
mean,
eventually.
he's nasty. He's the first creative we're talking about on this podcast.
I would never hype him up, but he's okay at what he does.
He's really good.
Anyways, he used to work at Ohio State. He actually was my boss in Miami my last semester, and we kind of became friends through that. We don't need to talk about
Sure, he
Farkas.
was a stickler.
We're going to stop talking about him. Regardless, we were driving to LA. I drove with him because he's from LA. He got a job with the Chargers. The Chargers are in LA, not in San Diego, for those of you who don't know.
For the non-sports fans.
Yes. And we got to LA, and I think I was there for like a day. And then I was all my calls were like super early in the morning, because it turns out Ohio and California are two different time zones. And
You learned that with experience. But
yeah, you kind of figure that out. Whatever. So it was like later that day, I was outside his parents' backyard, beautiful patio. Shout out Mama Farkas and Mr. Farkas while we're just shouting everybody
Wow.
out. And
is the Farkas family paying for some
They are.
placement
They
here?
are.
Okay.
this ad is brought to you by the Farkas family.
We don't have ads yet.
Not
Let's
yet.
not jump
You
the
can
gun.
sponsor us though.
You can.
Anyways,
You can. That's
so then I
part of
called
this.
Pat, and we just started talking.
I think I called you just to.
I don't know, for the sake of the story, I called you.
So I'll jump in here. I remember.
I didn't even get to the good part. Carry
Well,
on.
This
You're-
is a two-man operation, so gotta get used to that.
Anyways.
I remember being on a bike ride, which is like all I did during the pandemic to stay sane, and
with tricycle wheels.
yes,
Carry on.
and I just remember being on a bike ride and like thinking about career options, because obviously if you're going to stay in this field as a videographer, you're kind of reactionary to job openings, and just there weren't a ton of job openings this summer for sports videography roles. So I just was kind of thinking on this ride. I remember just being like, well, there's not a ton of great options out here. What can I do to be proactive? And I just started thinking, I was just like, man, if I could do something with Jack, I don't know what it would be, and I wasn't really sure like the format, but I just got that thought going in my head, and I was just like, I know that based on, because we had met.
I've been trying to avoid you for years, but that's cool.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
So we had met in person. I mean, most of our relationship prior to this was like phone calls and Zoom calls, but we met in Atlanta because we had a
Hot Atlanta.
Yeah, we had a summit,
Social Plus Summit. Yeah.
Met there, and a few other places, like Philly. We met in Dallas.
Yep.
Katy Trail Ice House. I think we went there
Shout
like
out Katy
10
Trail.
times
Shouting out everybody.
in the span of 3 days. It's still the only place I know in Dallas. Like, I don't know anything else. I know my apartment in Katy Trail Ice House.
I went to the wrong Chick-fil-A, but that's another story.
I also did that. I think it was in a hospital.
It's in a hospital. You can't go into without
you gotta
COVID testing.
Yeah, it's a whole process. But no, I mean, just from meeting you and having all these phone calls and Zoom calls, I just started thinking, like, I feel like I feel like there's something there, and I just remember talking to you on the phone and saying, what could we do together?
And like you said earlier, like, I don't think any of this would have happened if it weren't for COVID, and whether that's good or bad. I mean, I don't need to get into that necessarily, but I was traveling like crazy the few weeks prior to that with Ohio State baseball, and I know you're about to hop in with.
I was doing tons of stuff with like men's lacrosse, women's lacrosse, just basically any team that would let me film.
So it was nuts because we went from, it's gone from 100 to 0. They normally say 0 to 100, but we did the opposite. And we were all over the world, not over the world, the country, traveling with baseball, Florida, Nashville, I think back to Florida, whatever. We were all over the place, and then it just stopped all of a sudden. Basketball stopped, all the spring sports stopped, all the winter sports, everything, and it was like had a second in our job in our field. It's like especially in college sports, it's like August through June, you're just going crazy, right? And then the summer, you kind of have some time to chill before football season kicks off again or whatever it may be. So we had that time to take a step back, right, and look at whatever our jobs. Like I knew that, my time at Ohio State was not necessarily coming to an end, but like time for the next step, right? And whether that was at Ohio State or somewhere else. And then we kind of had that free time to talk and discuss whatever. So we were like I said, we were at Farkas. I was at Farkas's backyard. You called me. I called you. Whatever. That's a different story. We can. Yeah. I'll call it Verizon.
We'll check the transcripts.
Yeah. And we just started talking, and I think we talked about it for like a few hours, and maybe not a few hours, like 45 minutes, an hour. And then we called Sandra, and we looped her on it because I was like, she's in these meetings. She's in a different role, so she knows the ins and outs. And then we called Seth, who was our boss. Now he's always been a homie.
We should probably mention Sandra did our job at Florida, so social media correspondent at Florida. So that's how you guys have known each other from growing up. Yeah. That's how I met.
High school. Shout out Hoban.
So like we were already close friends, but then it just kind of got the ball rolling. Of like I think we were still figuring it out as we went of what it was going to be, but just we had more and more conversations, and then I think that's kind of what led to us starting to pitch it formally. So we had to create a deck, and I think in the company, a lot of the messaging, like even earlier in the pandemic, was just like we're trying to embrace being like a media and technology company, and I think we heard that and combined it with what our skill set was, and just basically figured why not at least go for it, because if it didn't work out, there's always these videographer, photographer. Those jobs are always there, but creating something.
Well, that's
at the right time is not always going to be an option.
Yeah, and I mean, to give a little background on the company, right? Learfield represents a ton of schools, universities, colleges, however you refer to it, across the country.
I think both work, terms.
Well, I think I use schools, universities, and colleges, so that'd be 3. But yeah, so we've got Social Plus. So Social Plus, real quick, is a bunch of content creators around the country. And I was at Ohio State. You were at Michigan. We've got people all over. And we just saw the access that we got and the abilities to, be around the football program, the basketball, whatever it may be, at different schools. And kind of talked about how, it'd be sweet to travel around the country. And we've got all these schools within the company. So it's like, can we go to the biggest games and have fun, be on the sidelines, where it's like, obviously I love Ohio State, always will. I'll always follow them. But, some weeks the game that Ohio State's playing, I'm not going to name who they're playing or whatever, but it's over before it starts, right? And, I mean, especially the last week. But
no comment.
I'm just saying, it's cool that we can ideally right in the fall we're going to travel around to all the biggest games. So
Yeah.
Oklahoma, Texas, right? That's going to be sweet. Whereas, we're going to be doing all the biggest things, right? Isn't that our video? We're going to all the places and doing all the things.
Yes.
So,
That's what we said. I think combining elements of what we were doing before with, again, some of the stuff you were doing before, some of the stuff I was doing before, it kind of felt natural as this was coming along. And then as I've described it to some friends and family, like, it makes sense when you tell it to them, even if they don't understand. So, like, if you're talking to someone's parents or our parents, whatever, it makes sense of like why it would be appealing, because yes, we're leveraging the access we can get to go to some of these games, and we're already making content. I mean, we've already gone to two big events so far, which we'll get to later. But yeah, no, I think the pitches went well, obviously, and a lot of Zoom calls, a lot of building decks, which Sandra's way better at that than we are.
Yeah.
But we got it done, which feels awesome. And I know we just kind of moved here a few weeks ago. It's been hectic and crazy. And you've been sleeping on an air mattress up until recently.
Yeah, we got a bed. Don't worry.
That's huge. So congrats on that. I should say.
That's why my posture's so bad right now. Yeah. Hold on.
No, but yeah, it's awesome to have it done, and then it's awesome to kind of look forward of like.
Like we said, what is the date today? January 15th, my sister's birthday.
Shout out,
Caroline.
Yep. Happy birthday.
But yeah, we started on May 2nd. So, it's been a grind, and we're sitting here. Look at us.
It's real. It's happening. Yeah. So how does it feel, Jack?
Feels great
to be here. Yeah.
No, it really does. I'm excited for what comes next. And, we're going to have some fun.
Yeah. I think that's it's a good summary.
A little intro.
Of what it took.
All right. Well, before we move on to the next thing, we want to do a live read.
Considering we don't have sponsors yet,
we're working on it.
We could do one, but it would have to be made up and without the sponsor's approval. So,
well, we don't need to do that.
So, I think we didn't really mention before that. Obviously, this is our job, but this took multiple pitches. And we should probably shout out, we mentioned him before, Sand's last name, but Seth Krug, Danielle Brault helped us a lot throughout this. Jack Patterson is now our boss.
Yep. The man.
Super helpful throughout all of this. Rick Bearcat.
Yep.
Rob Schneider.
The boys.
We pitched it kind of up the chain, and they were all super helpful. I feel like they get it. And they understand the potential that this has and how we can grow this. And so, obviously, just want to thank them.
Yes, thank you.
And
we're here to make you proud, as well as with my mother.
Yes.
Make her proud as well.
My mother as well.
Yes.
So, father as well. Siblings
yes, and my dad.
And dogs.
Yeah. Well, I don't have, but I guess what you're saying.
So, now that we're starting out and we're actually doing it, we've done a couple of games now.
Mm-hmm.
What have we learned, Jack?
I think we've learned a lot. I'm going to leave it there. No, I think we've learned a lot. The thing is, I was telling Sandra this the other night, this is like almost the first time since post-grad. It is the first time since post-grad where I've had to work with two people on a daily basis. Where at Ohio State, like, obviously I worked with a lot of people, but it was kind of like a one-man band. Like, I would film, edit, record, post, whatever. And I worked with people from a scheduling perspective and just the day-to-day life of college athletics and sponsorships and everything that comes with it. But one thing we've been growing and working together. I think it's been fun. It's been cool. We've had some good conversations as far as, do we post this, we not post this, or just simple stuff like what we learned from going to the Cotton Bowl or going to Miami or whatever it may be. And, do we need to be more time efficient or less time efficient, or this podcast, like setting it all up and whatever. So hopefully next time we don't need to come in here for however long and whatever. We got this in here. We got everything in here, and it's just kind of get to the point where it's set and go. So
I think any creative can attest to the fact that everything you do usually takes way longer than you think it's going to, and requires way more work. And so to go from where you're, the Social Plus program, you're kind of placed there in house, and you're assisting and you're helping, but you're working within the confines of both the local property and the athletic department and what their goals are. But when we're doing this on our own, obviously we are reporting, kind of up the chain, and it's still within a company, but all of our kind of like day-to-day decisions and posting, it's us three in a room, kind of saying what's the best content, what's our goal here, and just kind of comparing it to what I was doing before, which was a lot of it was doing it on my own. I had people helping me, but never had a team. It's a lot easier. There are decisions where, I mean, I'll be the first to say, like, I'm super opinionated, as you've learned.
Can confirm.
And I do care about
caps.
Yeah, capitalization and punctuation, and
I think that goes back to how old you are and how young I am.
Yeah,
how I
I
approach social media differently.
Because I pretty much write everything on a scroll with So
it's all right.
I'm coming, but I think it works. I do think it works to our advantage because we're all coming at it from different, a different angle.
Good. Yeah,
and
like that.
Whereas I feel like when you're doing it as an individual, even at our old jobs, it's like you could look at something, and I mean, editing a photo or editing a video, the average fan has no idea like how much time you can spend on it, and when it's just you working on something, you can kind of get lost because it's only your opinion. Whereas I can make something now or start to make something, and then you two will look at it and tell me something that I would have missed, which I think helps a lot. But just we're still figuring it out, but I think the potential here is super high, especially combining it with, I mean, this is our first podcast.
Yep.
Hopefully we get better. Hopefully this isn't our peak, and then combining that with us going to these different rivalry games.
So I mean, going off that, I feel like that is accurate, right? And then where we're trying to take this is traveling is a big part. Podcast is a big part. We want to have guests on here, former players, current players, coaches, and stuff like that. I mean, it's going to be a process, getting those guys on here, hanging out with us. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a work in progress. We've got big goals. I think we're in the beginning stages. And shout out you if you're listening to this podcast, episode 1.
Shout out to the early listeners. Please tell your friends about it.
Yes.
It always helps, sharing it on social media, following us, liking, subscribing. I don't know if we'll actually add that, but it's the thought that counts. Yes. So please, please help spread the word about it, because it doesn't seem like a job to a lot of people, but it is a job, and we've been working. I mean, I've been working. This is the hardest I've probably ever worked on a career. Not ever,
ever.
I've done some construction work that was pretty hard, but on creative projects
for my mom.
Yeah, it's
basically construction.
We've been working hard, so hopefully we're making stuff that you guys like, and hopefully it's good enough that people will kind of spread the word, because that's kind of how it grows. So
can't do it on our own.
We're not forcing you to do it, but if you want to share,
we wouldn't hate it.
If you want to share it to your Instagram story or on Facebook or Twitter or other applications.
If you don't have a Twitter, get a Twitter.
Yeah,
everyone should have a Twitter.
Get a Twitter.
I don't care if it's a burner account. You should have a Twitter.
Probably.
Real-time updates. It's awesome.
Let's talk about the trips we made. So Cotton Bowl, I don't know if you can call it a trip. It was a drive.
Yeah.
But
it was a drive, indeed.
What do you think of our experience there?
Yeah, I mean, going back to what I was saying earlier, I feel like we learned a lot at the Cotton Bowl. We had to film a quick video, or the end of our first video that we posted.
So maybe we should walk it back and talk about that leading into it. We filmed. It's pinned on our Twitter page right now if you want to watch it. It's a promo video, and the basic idea we had was all these recruits make these super dramatic commitment videos, and what if we made a parody of it? So we wrote a script.
You wrote the script.
Well, come on. I got help from you guys.
No, I didn't do anything. I can confirm I did nothing.
Okay. Well, I wrote a script, and then everybody else contributed in other areas. And it was pretty crazy that we pulled it off, because I remember there was a point a few weeks before we were starting where I was just like, are we going to be able to go to Ohio State and go to Michigan? But we made it work. And so had a day at Michigan, had a day at Ohio State, and then we needed a final scene to kind of wrap it up. And if you haven't seen the video, it's just a lot of campus. We got in the stadium, which I was super pumped about for both locations, just to make it seem legit. And it's done pretty well online. Check it out if you haven't seen it. But we needed like the final shot to signify that like we're in Dallas. And I remember originally we were not sure where it was going to be, and then it just kind of worked out that like we had committed to a January 1st release date. We were already going to the Cotton Bowl, and it was just
Jerry's
like,
World.
Might as well. I mean, it's kind of the thing that screams Dallas from a sports perspective. So we started off the day getting that shot. We got it. Sandra just crushes the Ronin game every time. So got that, and then led into actually going into the game. Had some issues with our credentials.
We had some issues early on. We had issues. We filled out the credential form. And when we got to
accurately, I should say.
Well, I mean, first of all, we made like 4 wrong stops at places to get the credentials. Yeah. So that was cool.
Yeah.
And then when we finally found the place where you get your credentials in your photo vest, they're like, who are you? Said our names. Like, who are you with? Learfield.
You guys don't. We were like, you guys don't follow us.
They're like, they thought we were there to take photos of the signage, and we're like, oh my.
That's really what we're about.
We're not. I mean, shout out sponsors. Yeah. If you want to sponsor us, now would be a good time. Or we could give you a shout out, but we don't have any sponsors yet. But anyways,
could be.
So yeah, we're like, we're not here. We're here to do we didn't get into explaining to them, but we were like, nah, that's. I mean, we just want photo vests. Yeah. Just give us photo vests.
We played our deck from start to finish for them, and by the time it was over, they understood it. Yeah. Did not do that. Just to clarify.
But I don't know. Somehow we got photo vests. I don't know how we got into the game, but we didn't have photo vests.
I don't know.
But that's besides the point. So then they took us up. They said, all right, here are your photo vests. You guys can sit in the press box where there's all these media seats like right next to the field. And we're like, all right, we got to go to the press box. I don't know if you know this, but Jerry's World is not small. It took us like 45 minutes to get up there. Yeah.
I got my steps in.
The elevator 4 times.
I got my steps in pretty early that day. So
yes. It took us forever to get up there. Once we got up there, we set our stuff down and never came back until like 8 hours later is what it felt like. Yeah. And and we almost got locked out. It was a mess. It was a mess.
I was certain that we got locked out, and Sandra found a door that was not the door I was trying to open. So that could have been bad. But I think, another interesting aspect of it was we weren't allowed to take video during the game, which kind of left us with you being the main person to take photos, and I'd say that went pretty well.
I think it went well. I think that was something that we talked about, like adjustment periods, right? Where, we did some stuff pregame or whatever, and then I was taking photos, right? So I took photos pregame, and then I was taking photos like the first few drives, the first quarter. There was a lot of turnovers, high-scoring game from the start, and then you guys texted me like, "Hey, I'm grabbing a bite to eat," and I was like, down under, and I was like, down under, and I was like,
g'day,
down under, and I was like, all right, I was like, I'm gonna keep taking photos because in my head, like, it was a weird transition for me, like mentally, because my job for the past 3 years have been taking photos start to finish. Like, I take like 9,000 photos on a game day, right, from skull session, team walk, pregame, the entire game, post game, Carmen, like whatever it may be. So, like, I was like, no, my job is to take photos. And then I was like, I'm kind of hungry, and, like, we really just need that trophy shot at the end.
Yeah, it's kind of nice, honestly. I was
down under.
We've been using a lot of Australian accents during this period. So that's a fun side note that people also care about. In addition to my my dog observation, which was in a video.
You do observe a lot of dogs.
I do,
especially around the apartment complex.
I'm obsessed. But no, I mean it has been an interesting transition, just in terms of shifting the focus from getting that shot or getting that moment on, because when you're filming a game, like, you have to be locked in, and you have to. If you miss that one play, then everyone's going to ask you, oh, can I get the shot or the video of that one play? And it's just the worst thing ever, where you're just like, actually, I
sneezed. I missed it.
Yeah, that's not it's not fun to tell people. So to shift from that to kind of more, I mean, the way we're currently doing it is we're trying to make a vlog at all of these big events, which is a lot of work, but they're super fun to kind of recap and remember what we did. And we've kind of been posting the short clips. I mean, from that, we had a You encountered a former offensive lineman.
Oh yeah,
Did a little pass rushing
that
drill.
man. Yeah,
He was a large guy.
he was a big man.
Yeah, played at Jackson State. Shout out Dion.
Shout out Dion. Hey,
And that was
Jackson
one of
State.
that was one of, we were just kind of calling them on camera like eccentric individuals. That was one of the people we talked to. We met some of the Oklahoma player moms, and
they were dolls.
They were very
absolute dolls.
They were very nice people. And then our friend in the Tim Tebow jersey, I would say, kind of stole the show.
The uncut version of Tim Tebow, the long form piece.
Yeah,
I might never see the light of day.
I don't.
But
think
it was
will.
unbelievable. Shout him out. I know he follows us.
We literally.
I think he DM'd us.
Yeah, he was electric.
He was something. No, it was a good time. Him and his friends. Yeah, I mean, we don't need to get too much into that.
We don't need to talk about everything.
No.
But they were.
I'm not going to find him. But yeah, I know he follows us. Comment on this.
Yeah,
we'll clip this.
He follows it. He'll find it. But they we met some we met some super interesting individuals, and it was a little tough though because we were kind of just. It was raining before, and we were kind of on the concourse trying to find people, and this was in addition to you taking photos during the game and trying to post them. And so I think it went really well. We were just kind of figuring out. It was a weird game to start with, just because wasn't really typical of. Usually we would be closer to the field, and hopefully in the future we can also shoot video. So it was kind of, you were focusing more on photography. I was kind of running the vlog, and I'd say it went well.
It was a good week.
Experience. Yeah,
we learned a lot, and hopefully you people enjoyed it as well.
Hopefully, and check out the vlog. Check out
we got a new vlog.
Yeah, we got a YouTube channel. We don't have a ton of subscribers.
We got shouted out in Miami about that.
Good time to transition to Miami.
Yeah.
Someone
this kid came up to us, or I think we interviewed him, and
he did not give us anything that was usable. By the way,
he was not appropriate.
He had a mouth on him.
This is a family-friendly podcast, but he had a mouth on him. Say the least.
As we were walking away, he looked up our YouTube channel, which
everyone just assumes like you have a camera and you're a YouTuber, and granted we have a YouTube, but like we do social media and podcasts as well, right? So he looked up our YouTube and he's like, "You guys have 12 subscribers."
As we're walking down the street,
I was like, "Good to know." Like honestly, I didn't even know we had 12.
Yeah,
I'll take 12.
Yeah, right now.
I would like 13, maybe get into 14, maybe the 20s.
Let's take it easy for now, though. Baby steps.
We'll get there.
But that was an interesting thing that happened. The trip overall was super fun, and we got a lot of good content, which we're still kind of putting out.
Yeah, unraveling
as we speak. We got a vlog coming soon, which is going to be awesome, and also luckily, like, we were able to meet up with some of these Social Plus people from around the country.
Yeah.
So
we who did we all see? Florida State, Duke, South Carolina,
Miami,
Ohio State. Ben stole my job.
Should we give him name shout out since we're doing that so loosely with Farkas?
You got him.
No, you can do it.
I mean, I don't even know people's names.
Why don't you try?
I don't even know who's where. I have to pull up Slack.
Wow.
No, it's all right. We'll shout them out. I don't know. Link in bio, comments, tag them, video, podcast. They probably won't even listen to this. If you listen to this, if you get to this point in the podcast, those schools, Social Plus people I just named, we will give you a shout out in a future podcast.
You have to prove it somehow, though. You have to send us a video of you listening to it with the timestamp on it. So
we're gonna make you earn this shout out.
Yeah, Farkas got the first one.
Yes,
and then now
he probably won't even listen.
Now we're kind of clamping down, but we got a lot of man on the street content.
It was awesome. Yeah, that's what we live for. Almost.
Yeah, a lot of run and gun. We talked to a lot of wild people and got some really good interviews. Some Bama fans, some Ohio State fans.
I was pretty aggressive with Ohio State winning the game.
Yeah, but
I have to be.
Well, I mean,
I'm a Buckeye.
You wouldn't be a very good fan. There was a lot of fans I talked to who were making 3, 4, 5 point win predictions, and I was kind of just
for
like,
Ohio State.
For Ohio State, I was like, if you're gonna make the prediction, especially on camera, you should just go for broke.
Bucks by a million.
Just say
that's what I was trying to say all weekend.
Basically, every interview you got about Ohio State was just very confident. So I'm sorry that the game didn't work out the way.
It's all good.
The way you wanted it
It's
to.
all,
I'm sure.
it's all good.
I'm sure it doesn't affect you.
Nick
at all.
Saban is pretty good at what he does.
He's solid.
So is Coach Day.
He's got a decent process going, I would say.
Trust the process.
Pretty good recruiter.
Yeah, I mean,
Probably a pretty good motivator. Probably.
he doesn't seem intimidating in the slightest.
No. I think it's probably super chill.
I'd talk back to him for sure.
Yeah, sure that would end well for you. But yeah, no, for the game, I mean, we were able to watch it with some of our former coworkers, which was fun. In between, kind of running around.
Yep.
Miami getting all the man on the street content, which again, we will be putting out more of soon. And check out the vlog when it comes out. TBD on the release date.
We're just working hard over here. There's a lot to do.
We really are. There's a lot of components that go into. I think most people, like I said earlier, most people who see that you work in social media, it's always like, can you get me tickets? Can you and
sideline.
They don't really,
other thing.
And they don't
Listen,
really.
man,
they don't
I am
really,
the lowest person on the totem.
Don't ask me for tickets. Sideline passes.
No.
But and yet
you can
people,
try.
Yeah, no, I mean people.
But I'm also a horrible texter, so I probably won't get back.
Your phone. I've learned from working with you that your phone is. You say it's on silent. I don't know. If
it is on silent. It is on silent. Unless my mom calls me, then it's full blast. I love my mom.
That's fair.
All right, let's take a break real quick.
Yeah.
If we had a sponsor, we would do a live read right here.
We don't.
And I would sponsor the heck out of it for you. I would promote it.
We'd probably make some
breathe it.
We'd probably make some jokes about it.
Make some jokes. Endorse you.
If it's something,
it's organic. What we do is organic.
We'd probably say that and that we love. The
I don't
product.
know why we don't have a sponsor yet.
I'm not sure either.
We could send a list of brands we like to associate with, but also you could be a brand that I currently don't associate with, and I will. Oh my! I will sell it.
We won't discriminate, but
I will sell it so hard.
We have experience with
sponsored content,
so we wanna help your brand out. But as of now, we can't do it.
It's all right. You're missing out.
I think we should maybe just talk about what the big picture is here, if we're
Mhm.
still eligible, and what our goals are, maybe even our dreams.
Oh wow, we're getting deep. Podcast number 1. Oh boy,
Trying to just peel back the onion here, the layers.
the layers. Are you gonna go first?
Yeah, I mean, I would say we've always
We or I?
we
Okay.
have always talked about this as, thinking big. I don't think we've ever thought small about this, and we've never said
We're big thinkers. That's why you should sponsor us.
yes. And so, what I'm looking forward to is kind of expanding the potential here that we have from kind of the format we've set up, where when we're going to these big games, it's just like, if the content we're going to make right now, I feel like just starting out, it's very run and gun. It's a lot of man on the street stuff, which I have experience doing, you have experience doing, we feel comfortable doing it. I think what I'm really excited about down the road is getting some more scripted content going, because that's kind of my background as well, and working with a lot of these personalities.
Yeah.
I think you can tell from even if you've made it this far in the podcast, which hopefully you have,
Mm-hmm.
you can tell that we're not X's and O's guys. We're not breaking down film.
Could
I mean,
be.
we could back
Could
here.
be.
We could do some breakdown.
I know how to punt.
I played some D-line back in the day.
I did as well.
You?
No, I mean
On who O-line?
on Hula. Shout out Dion. No, I agree. I mean, I think that we've got big goals for this, right? And going around all the biggest games, like being ingrained in these campuses and these schools and these rivalries and all that stuff. It's something that excites me. And like we said, we've got access to all these schools and want to make the most of it and blend in and be a part of that culture. I'm pretty much down to do that anywhere at any time, minus that school up north. That's kind of a year deal.
You're coming home for Thanksgiving.
I am coming. Shout out.
You're staying.
Shout out the Stanzics.
If my family isn't aware, I'm making them aware now.
If they've made it this far in the podcast,
they will. You're coming back for Thanksgiving.
That thread count on the sheets better be high, Mrs. Stanzik.
We got a guest room, so that's happening, and you're gonna love it. I mean, you've been to Ann Arbor before.
Yeah, it's I was gonna say something nice about Ann Arbor. It's actually a beautiful place.
Wow,
it is.
Off-brand comment, but
if you outside of the university, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
The whole state, I got to stop talking.
Okay. Probably a smart move. But yeah, I think we're already doing what
I take back what I just said.
Wow. Harsh. I think we're already doing what we talked about, maybe even on that first call, of just we're having fun with it, and we're hopefully letting people. I mean, I think the point of this podcast too, because the other stuff we're doing tends to be shorter form, is hopefully letting.
We're trying to figure it out, people.
Well, sure. We're trying to let people know more about us versus just what you may see in some social content. But
the plan is, like I said, we want coaches on here. We want to interview people, players. We want to go to these schools. We want to have fun. We want to be super fans, the whole 9 yards.
Just want to make cool content. We want to show off, there's so many traditions and rivalries that, I may know about or a certain fan may know about, but like across the country, it's mind blowing how, we'll talk to people who work at different properties or different schools. And there's just, even all our, former coworkers, the Social Plus correspondents, like you hear about certain traditions that they cover, and it's just wild. Sure. And the fact that we're going to be able to cover those, and we're going to be able to make, funny content, engaging content about that, and hit all these different fan bases, and hit all these. There's so many amazing restaurants and just things to do in these colleges.
Still eligible, likes to eat.
We do like to eat. So
bruschetta.
It's going to be awesome. It's kind of mind blowing that this is our job. And I have to pinch myself every now and then. Not sure if you have to, but it is a dream job for sure. And just to get it off the ground has been amazing. And
we made it.
It doesn't feel like work, which is like the best kind of work.
Yeah, I mean, it's something different every day. Like yesterday, we set this place up, right? Looks pretty sweet, if you ask me. If you're listening to this, maybe check it out on social to get a little visual.
Yeah, if you're listening to the audio version.
We appreciate you.
We appreciate you for sure, but there is a video version.
Yeah, and you can do either. And we have 12 YouTube subscribers, so maybe we could double that by next podcast.
If you played it at the same time, you could technically do both, and the volume would just be a little louder. So just make sure you hit it at the same time, because if one's later, you might be a little off. But yeah, no, it's there's a lot to look forward to. We're obviously excited that we got it off the ground, and we're doing it. It's pretty surreal to look over at you and wearing the merch, and this is like our job now, and we live in Dallas, which is also kind of mind blowing because
turns out the weather is way nicer
than
the Midwest,
which is a plus. But it's kind of surreal, but there's a lot to look forward to, and we hope that if you're listening to this now, you can help spread the word. And we're just going to try to grow this as much as we can and have fun doing it.
He just talks and talks, I swear. We're good. No, it's good. I like that.
I'm trying to help you out.
No, I love the plug. Don't get me wrong, but people get it, man.
Okay.
Follow us.
I'll wrap it up.
All right.
So I would be remiss if I did not mention some current events.
What's that?
In the sporting world, your boy, Urban Meyer.
Hey, shout out Urban.
Now the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
He is indeed.
What's the initial impression there?
Big things. He's a winner. Always has been. You know that. You know that firsthand.
Well aware of that.
Yeah. So I mean, going back to Florida, the state that is, not the school. I expect big things. He's got the first overall pick. We don't need to get into that.
Doesn't have Tebow this time around.
Well,
in Florida.
Yeah. We can. That's a whole nother discussion. First pick. Big things. Great coach. Great guy. What do you want from him?
I mean, you know him personally. What I only know the fact that he has caused me great frustration over the years.
Did I ever tell you about the first time I met Urban Meyer?
No.
Well, okay. So I saw him. I've seen him a few times, at media day shoots or whatever it was, and then the first time I met Urban Meyer, okay. So we do this thing every Thursday, where we have it's called the Coaches Show, and it's pretty straightforward. It's a pretty
good name for what I imagine it is.
Yeah, it's Coach's radio show, and it's an hour-long show with Paul Keels, Jim Lachey, the guys, legends. How I say legends, the voice of the Buckeyes and the color commentator, Jim Lachey. Skip Mossick running the audio. And we've got
so we're back to shout outs. We were
well, I
we
mean,
were there.
they're Learfield guys, been at Ohio State for a minute, and I mean, excellent voice, beautiful voices.
Don't want to step on your toes. Carry on.
As I was saying. So then there's like 3 tables of sponsors, big sponsors or whatever, that represent Ohio State athletics. It's proud sponsors of Ohio State athletics. And whatever. So the front table is those guys. Coach comes out. Coach does the first half an hour of the show. Everyone's like eating, hanging out, whatever. During breaks, they come up to the table. Coach signs a mini helmet for them, whatever. 3 tables. Boom, boom, boom. And then so my job during the radio show is to take a couple photos and then tweet out a couple quotes. And then, whatever Coach is talking about, Dwayne Haskins, I put a picture of Dwayne and Coach and blah, 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 tweet the quote. Rest is history. Second half, they bring out, coordinator or whatever, Coach, and Urban goes to the back. Mm-hmm. So when Urban goes to the back, what he would do is he'd get up from behind the table and go to, the first table and shake everyone's hand. Then he would go to the second table and do the same thing. The third table. So I'm watching this from the back of the room. And so he does for table 1, table 2, table 3.
You have a lot of time to
I'm fully preparing for this. I was like, I'm going to shake Urban Meyer's hand. Like, I came from Miami, Ohio, and I mean, we have a good coach there. But
the cradle of coaches, Miami, Ohio.
The absolute cradle of coaches. Yes. That's a good story too. But so yeah, I'm taking it all in. I was like, it's about to go down. A little bit nervous. I didn't have my deodorant stick that day. So here we are. So whatever. Table 1, table 2, table 3. My friend Alex standing next to me. He shakes her hand, and then I'm last. I'm literally the last person, and then he's going back in the back, and he's doing whatever Coach does. So naturally, I stick out my hand because I'm a gentleman,
as one does.
As one does, because he just shook 35 people's hands in a row.
And were they all?
They were all full on shakes.
Full on shakes.
Okay. So I stick my hand out like this. Urban goes for the knucks. I'm going for the shake. He goes for the knucks. And I was like, oh my. I was so flustered. So then I go for the knucks, and he goes for the shake. And then it turned into this weird thing where Urban grabbed.
Oh, it's happened to me.
He grabbed. No, this is my first time ever meeting Urban Meyer. He grabs my 2 fingers like this and shakes them. And I was like, oh no. Yikes. That was absolutely horrible. I got I can't even talk. That's how bad it was. It was horrible.
Did he make a comment?
No, I don't. I just know that if I was a recruit, that was the last time we were ever talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad.
Be like, we'll call you.
He's like, don't reach out. Yeah. We will reach out to you.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think I got back in my car and was like, I had to sit there for a minute, and I was like, what? I think I clocked out for the day and went home, and I remember calling my dad and I was like, you'll not believe what just happened. I was like, I just met Urban, and he's like, that's sweet. I'm like,
you'd think so.
Yeah, let me tell the story, Dad.
You'd think so.
Yeah, so that wasn't good. But the next time. The next week, I was like, all right, I'm going to land this. So I let him make the first move. I can't recall if it was a handshake or a knucks, but I landed it. And then after that, I was like, all right, I'm good.
You only remember.
I think I shook his hand a few more times, over the course of my time there.
Yeah.
But I was like, all right, I just needed to get one in the bag.
You only remember the mistakes, and that's a good lesson for those of you listening and or watching. You got to be reactionary. You can't. I mean, not with everything in life, but with handshakes.
You cannot be an aggressor when Urban
unless it's a 100% handshake situation. Which, to your credit, you thought it was going to be a handshake based on every other.
Yeah, I mean, I know how to read a room. I pick up on context clues.
I mean, you rectified it, which I think is the main takeaway from the story is you know how to bounce back, as Big Sean would say. So I'm glad you were able to not have your legacy with Urban. Although you have some other context. I saw a picture that we tweeted yesterday of.
Yes. I've got more stories. We'll get into all that. I got more stories about Urban, and I mean not a ton, but some stories. Yeah, but I was at the last game. I love photobombing stuff. I don't know. Well, we've got stories. I think this is honestly we've done enough, in my opinion, for podcast number 1.
I think so too.
I think people got a little bit of understanding. This is kind of more of an introductory, right? Who we are, what we do, what we want to do. Big things. 12 YouTube subscribers
currently. Hopefully, you guys can help us with that. But yes, we're starting from scratch, which I
started from the bottom. Now we're here.
I think that's a cool part about this is we're literally we're creating it as we go, and we're figuring it out as we go. And I think that
we're always open to suggestions. You can tweet us
and sponsors,
comment, sponsors, whatever. I mean, we will take your suggestions. Granted, you're probably wrong and we're probably right, but we will read them. Probably, maybe.
Feel free to send them. We may not implement them, but
no, I mean, absolutely.
At least you tried.
Send them our way.
Send them over. We'll
sort through them. There's a lot of stuff we're sorting through.
We're looking forward to, again, kind of all facets of this, but with the podcast, what did we do today? We wanted to introduce ourselves, how we met.
I just recapped it. You're recapping my recap.
Okay.
Let's call it. All right. This is Still Eligible, podcast number 1 in the ideation room, Plano, Texas, Learfield IMG College. I'm Jack Trail.
I'm Pat Stanzik. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe.
Okay,
Please
they get
like
it.
our pages.
I just killed the outro, and you got to come in and say subscribe. We said that 7 times.
You got to remind people.
I mean,
they're not always thinking about that.
All right. That's a wrap.
All right.
Go Bucks.
No, go Blue. Sorry, I'm slow.
That was great.
Sorry.
Loved it.
Good job, I think. I hope. Maybe not.